Hey guys, this is Mel, and I am back to talk about Supernatural. That is episode 1501, titled Back into the Future, which premiered Thursday, October 10th, 2019 on the CW. And it is our final season premiere we're going to get for the show. It truly is the beginning of the end for us. So, before we get right into it, huge spoiler alert. If you haven't seen it already, please go do so first and then come back and see what I have to say about uh, um, my other thoughts for the episode. My other video reminders up on screen. Take a moment to remind yourselves of those as well. I wanted to get this recorded. I am recording the same night. It's technically after midnight for me on the 11th, but it's still a few hours since the episode is finished for me. So I wanted to get this recorded just because I'm going to be seeing a bunch of fellow fans this weekend at a convention, and I did not want my initial thoughts to change, like I always promise with these first recordings. So that's kind of why I might be recording it now, but you might not get it until later in the weekend or seeing it. But you get my gist. So yeah. Also, just a heads up as well, I did manage to watch the first 200 episodes of the series again. I did over the summer a few rewatch videos. If you want to go check those out, considering that I started doing videos about the show at the tail end of season 10, and I'm just coming upon the beginning part of season 10, so it's pretty weird now that I think about it. But also, school has just started for me. I just finished my first week today. So who knows when I'll be able to finish the rest of season 10, but it shouldn't take me that long. But yeah, anyways, let's get right into this video. That's why you're here. I'm going to try to do this in 10 minutes, so let's start the clock. And let's begin with what happened in the season premiere. So first off, timeline-wise, it is really continuing off where we left off in the season 14 finale, which is 1420, and that is literally our characters, Sam, Dean, and Castiel, being surrounded by a zombie swarm after a portal from hell spits out all these souls. So there's that episode reminder of the fact that it is the beginning of the end. It is the beginning of the final season. So that's something right there. Episode breakdown, or storylines, if you will. It's kind of two parts that I picked up on. The first part being escaping the zombie swarm that started in the finale last May. And then the second storyline is actually containing all these escaped souls from hell and trying to do that with as minimal of the casualties as possible. So the first storyline, we do get introduced to a demon named Belfagar. I probably spelled that wrong, but he actually possesses Jack's body, and claiming that he hasn't been topside since he was human long time ago. And he actually provides a spell for them to expel the souls out of the zombies trying to kill them. So when he does that, it's just the dead corpses that should be in their coffins that are around them. And his reasoning for doing it is because he liked the way hell was. He liked doing his job, which was a torture in hell for all the new souls that arrived. And he liked doing that every day. He'd go in, punch his clock, and he'd do his time, what he's supposed to do. The fact that now the portal has opened, it's shifting things again, which is what he doesn't want. And he didn't even believe when they said that it was actually God's doing, not something that they had done. So that's something there. Second storyline, though, with containing the escaped souls, this is where we pretty much get previous enemies that the brothers have faced off coming back to kill once again. So that we got Women in White in episode 101, Bloody Mary in episode 105. We have that serial killer clown that had a brief cameo, and I'm pretty sure the 300th episode, 1413. And then I believe one of them was Lizzie Borden as well. I think she was she one in season 12, I think. Episode clip or episode number is on screen right now. But we do see a lot of those. We also find out that just what was going on when the portal was open. And that was the fact that apparently, according to the demon that's possessing Jack, about roughly 2 to 3 billion souls escaped from hell, and pretty much all the doors in hell were unlocked, and that's including Lucifer's cage. So we might see a lot more than just returning ghosts for sure. At least that might explain why we're supposed to see Adam again. So that's something there. But the last scene of the episode is actually the brothers kind of figuring out together what their next move is, and that is pretty much trying to put all the escaped souls back into hell before they can kill once again, kind of redoing their jobs again. And they end with the line, "We've got work to do." And then it cuts immediately to when the brothers did that the first time in the pilot episode, standing the exact same way and shutting the trunk. I wasn't expecting that cut to 15 years ago, but I thought it was so cool, and it was so, I guess it was just, I don't know, it's not very, is it jarring, would you consider, because of the fact that you see such a contrast with the fact that they're now is literally direct where they began, kind of thing. But I thought that was pretty cool. So there's that. Moving on to tidbits though, very quickly. The demon that is possessing Jack is named Belfarga. We went through that. Not sure if he's actually just going to be, is he going to be here for more than one episode or something? I don't know. But we definitely got to learn a little bit more about him and his view on this new world he's seen, because it's been a long time since he has been topside and among humans. So that's something there. We found out that Sam's gunshot wound from the special gun that he tried using on Chuck. We find out that there's apparently some other energy source inside it that Castiel not only hasn't felt before, but it's preventing him from healing Sam of that wound. So that's going to cause problems later for sure. So there's that. Also, we do get Sam sharing his belief that if God is truly done with their world and he's abandoned it, then this can mean true freedom for all of them, as opposed to just being his puppets for his own amusements. And all they really had to do was just clean up this latest apocalyptic event, and they could be home free from Chuck and his never-ending craziness, I guess you can say. So there's that. Moving on to end tally or death tally. There's the Bloody Mary victims, which is the two girls who were playing dress up. Then there's the woman in white's victim being the sheriff, and then also one off-screen kill that grabbed the brothers' attention. And then there's also the serial killer clown's victims, both off-screen as well, before it looked like he killed all the people at the party before he started going after the mother and daughter. So there's a lot of them there, unsuspected. But would you say this is one of the few times that the episode's not actually centered around one specific case, instead of it being like a mashup of things? So that's something there. But moving on to the most shocking moment of the episode, I will have to say it has to be the moment where Jack's body was possessed. Initially, when he's just standing there all of a sudden and he says, "Hello," I thought it was actually Jack that had returned. It didn't occur to me that it was a demon. So I guess that would have to be my shocking moment right there. So that's something there. Top 3 favorite moments for sure. I'm thinking maybe I should be splitting this because it is the final season. Maybe just have a column of like memory moments or something. But one of the favorites was the flashbacks, not only with reference back to who the woman in white was when Sam first mentions it, but also the final scene where it's "We've got work to do." Just having that, I mean, maybe because I've just recently rewatched the first 200 episodes and I've already had that trip down memory lane, maybe it's not as powerful, but the fact that we got the flashbacks is something I'm always going to love, and maybe it would have definitely hit me a lot more if I hadn't had my rewatch, but it definitely serves the purpose of showing just how far they've come, or at least how long of a time it's been, because they do look drastically different since the pilot. So there's that. Another favorite I did have was between Dean and the demon, Balfargar. I'm going to pronounce it wrong every time, but I like the fact that Dean acknowledged that Jack was his family, especially after everything that happened since Mary's death. So that was great to have him acknowledge that. Also, it's very interesting to have them talk about hell and the conditions and states that it is right now. Also, to have the demon claim that he's a fan of Dean's and had the opportunity to see him learning under Alistair's tutelage. So that was something there. And just also the demon itself had a very distinct perspective of things, and just his approach was a lot more jovial than what the situation the brothers are facing called for. So it kind of lightened the situation a little bit. I definitely focused on different aspects we never would have thought of, which I did appreciate. So there's that. And another favorite I did have of the episode was the final scene. Well, kind of part of the final scene, but that is when Dean is actually trying to clean out Sam's gunshot wound. Not only is it a good scene because it's just a regular mundane moment that we never really get to see much of. It's just the regular treatments of any wounds, but the fact that Dean was also sharing a story from their childhood about how, like, when he used to patch Sam up as a kid, he'd always tell a joke to kind of distract Sam from either the antiseptic or the stitches or whatever it was. So that was a cool moment there, and just to have them still follow those childhood routines with when doing the cleaning of the wounds. So that was pretty interesting there. But moving on to top 3 peeve moments, the only peeve I really have, and it's kind of really small, was the fact that it was an obvious recast of the old ghost, especially with the woman in white and Bloody Mary. I think those are the only 2 specifically that I noticed, just because, again, because of my rewatch, but also because they're the ones that you can actually see their faces more clearly, and it definitely did not look like the 2 actresses that played them originally 15 years ago. So it's only a small thing there. It's just like, for me, for recasting, unless it makes sense story-wise, there shouldn't really be a recast. So, like, unless, like, it's a demon possession where it's obvious they're going to be possessing a different body, then okay, the recast makes sense there. But if it's the same character being played by 2 different people, and apparently no time has passed between those 2 representations, then it makes no sense why they would recast. On a logical standpoint, I'm not going to go into, like, availability of the actors themselves, but that's always something that really takes me away from it, because it's not an instant recognition type of thing. So there's that. But moving on to random questions very quickly, and the timer's about to go off soon. But my first question is that if there's the timer, but if Castiel is still an angel, then why couldn't he use his powers to blast all those zombie souls in the opening scene? Why was he fighting like he was a human hunter? I mean, there's a few times where you see him putting his angelic touch and blasting the souls away. But what happened to, if you remember in episode 619, when it was just after they killed off the mother of all and Eve, and then Castiel automatically goes into, like, pretty much a light bulb. Like, he was a ball of light energy right after he was able to use his powers, enough to tell the boys to shut your eyes because it would burn out their eyes. So I'm wondering why he didn't use that type of move during the whole zombie swarm if he was still at full power. Like, you know what I mean? So that was a question I had there. Another question I had was that if all the old ghosts are coming back, how exactly are the hunters supposed to send them back if the first time around they already destroyed what was keeping them tethered to the earthly plane, like with like the bones or like the piece of DNA? Like, if they already destroyed it the first time to get them to move on, how are they going to send them back a second time if there's technically nothing tethering them to the earthly plane? So that's a question there. And the final question, when the ghosts were expelled from their bodies, specifically I'm recalling to when Cass used that cement block and pretty much smashed that zombie's head in, and we saw this skeleton image kind of move on from the body. Is that something new we're supposed to be seeing now, or is that specifically because it's supposed to show that it's a hijacked soul from hell moving forward and not something else entirely that they're adding to it? So that's something there. But let's move on to predictions very quickly before I start coughing my lung up. But promo for the next episode for 1502, I saw more ghosts, and they're actually not in their crazy states, but they're actually talking amongst themselves to figure out what the hell is going on. We're going to see those same ghosts going up against our hunters. Some negotiations are going to be tried, and then we're going to see Rowena return once again. So there's that. The synopsis for the episode does read, Sam, Dean, and Castiel calling Rowena to help keep the evil souls at bay and get an unexpected assist from Ketch. That's going to be something interesting right there. So there's that. Also, before we finish for the day, I just want to mention that before the episode premiered, they did release a final trailer for like the first few episodes from the looks of it, because if what I recall correctly, not everything from the premiere not everything from the video was shown in the premiere. So there's that. I was able to see it on Facebook. I was able to see it on Instagram. So it should be up still. But a few things I wanted to point out was the fact that we do see the Marker Cane returning. I'm assuming it's on Dean again, but it's definitely on someone with wearing a plaid shirt. So there's that. We do see Dean in soldier gear, more specifically like a military camo. Like, whenever we see soldiers that are either on base or they're out in the field, but they're at their base in the field, and they're like dressed up in like these very bulletproof vest, obviously, but it's like the beige, and then that's like the scarf that usually would cover the face and stuff like that, but it's usually just around the neck. I saw Dean in that type of setup, so I'm thinking it's either going to be actually our Dean, the Dean from another world, or if it's maybe future Dean, kind of calling back to when we saw Soldier Dean in the 2014 alternate future back in episode 504. So that's something I'm speculating there. We also see snippets of Sam in a white suit. Initially I thought maybe Lucifer was returning, but then I remember that Lucifer's actually, which is, I guess it still could be a possibility because Lucifer is up in the empty and he tried to get brought back by Nick last season. So there's still a possibility, but I did see Sam in a white suit again. Last seen in episode 522. Or not 522, 504 in the future segment. So there's that. I also saw a scene where there was two Adams possessed. Possibly it's going to be Adam against Michael in that setup, and they're in a diner. So there's that. And then also the trailer kind of showed, you kind of hear Chuck talking about the ending of the story being just a gravestone labeled Winchester, and then someone trying to beg for Chuck to reconsider and how like he can't do this to the fans. I think it's Marie from the 200th episode, the student director. The only reason I would think that is because that was the last one I just saw before watching the premiere. So we'll just have to wait and see about that. But that is pretty much it, guys. So what did you guys think of the premiere? What did you guys like about it? What do you think is going to happen in this final season? Let me know in the comments down below. Love to hear your thoughts, theories, opinions about all that. Also, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Subscribe to my channel, like this video, subscribe to the channel, and check out my other videos if you haven't done so already. If you want, check out my Tumblr page. The link for that is down below. I reblog promos, web clips, quotes, GIFs, synopses, news, all that good stuff, all found in one place. Go check that out. I am a little behind. Definitely know that for sure. I'll try to keep up as best I can. This weekend is definitely going to be crazy because it's also the long weekend for me. So I'm supposed to be going back home, as well as I have a convention, and then I got to do homework. So I have a lot on my plate right now. But I'll try to fit that in. But otherwise, live journal entry link is down below. I try to do jot note versions of the episode as I watch it for the first time. It's just a simple summary, or it helps me keep things in line, especially if there's some things that I've missed that I go back to. It helps you. Go check that out. I've been doing it since season 6. Figured why not do it to the very end. I've made it this far already. So there is that. But otherwise, guys, that is pretty much it. So thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for your patience. I hope you come back next week to see what I have to say about the next episode. But until then, guys, this is Mel. Wish you all a great day, great week, wherever you are. Bye for now.